Hi, this is Faith Hutchinson from ProSync Data Solutions. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video on proactive price updating. The first step in proactive price updating is to start with accurate pricing data. How do you know your suppliers are giving you accurate pricing data? As someone who manages inventory data, I work with hundreds of suppliers. And while it doesn't happen all the time, often enough these suppliers are either missing pricing data or have prices that do not match what's on my PO history. I actually had a situation recently where one of the large suppliers that I work with was missing hundreds of items from their pricing file and didn't realize it. It was only because I had exported the data from my database and had matched it against the file that they had sent me and realized many items were missing from the file. When I reached out to the representative a few days later, he responded and said that yes, indeed, there are items missing from the file. Well, you know, I told him, well, you're welcome. I went ahead and took care of somebody's job for you, and we both laughed about it. But the point is, if I hadn't checked, I would have not had accurate pricing for hundreds of items because the supplier had not provided accurate data. Maintaining accurate, up-to-date pricing really does require a proactive approach. When a supplier sends their pricing increase notification, being proactive means not waiting until the day the price increase goes into effect or after to update your pricing. Unless you have a nearly flawless EDI setup that talks to every supplier, odds are you're going to have some hands-on interaction with your pricing updates. Of course, it is possible that your supplier is actually sending the updates the day they go into effect or after. In that case, that's a whole other conversation you need to have with your supplier. So now that we've established the why and when aspects of this process, we're going to go into the 5 steps for price updating. The first thing you want to do is to create a list. It should include all of your suppliers, their corresponding supplier IDs if it's applicable, the last time the prices were updated, the next time the increases are due, and a comments column. So the next thing you want to do is something that's going to help you to stay organized and to keep track of all your suppliers that need to be updated. When you get your notification from your supplier that they're going to have a price increase, you want to make a note of it. Put it on your calendar and put it on the file that you just created to let you know that they have a price increase coming up on a particular day. Okay, so now you have your pricing file from your supplier and it's time to see what in your system needs to get updated. So you're going to export your data, do your VLOOKUPs or whatever way it is you compare your data through your database, and you want to make sure that every item in your system for that supplier is on the new pricing file. Now, here's where you're going to be super proactive, and this is why doing things in advance is going to be very helpful. Whatever items are missing from the price list, you're going to compile a list and send it back to the supplier. Sometimes when you're attempting to validate your pricing data, you're going to find that you think that there are items missing when actually they're not. Many times I've found that there's either an extra symbol or a missing symbol from the supplier part number on their file or the part number in my system. And this could be just from a typo or something like a item gets entered without a hyphen whereas it normally has a hyphen, or maybe there was a space where there shouldn't be a space. To see if this is the case of why I couldn't find all of my matches, I'll remove any extra symbols from both the supplier part number and my own. I also will trim any spaces from the part. After you've taken all the necessary steps to ensure that the items in your system either have new pricing on the new file or don't, whatever you can't find on your new file, you're going to go ahead and send to your supplier. Put the file together, make a note on the file that you made earlier with the comment section. on the day that you reached out to them. And then you're going to follow up. Wait no longer than a week if you haven't heard back. Remember, being proactive is key. Okay, last but not least, once you have received all of the up-to-date pricing information from your supplier, go ahead and put your pricing file together. Make a note on your pricing file to-do list of what the file is called. This way it will be all set and ready to go on the day that your pricing needs to be updated. Since I maintain pricing for over 200 suppliers, and because I have other duties other than pricing updates, typically the day that I get the file from the supplier, I start working on this process within that week, assuming that the update that they've sent has given me enough notice, such as a month in advance. I have found this to be really, really helpful, because that way when the day comes and the price has to get updated for those items, I can just load my file. Thank you again for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you were able to take something away that will help you improve your process for how you do price updates. Until next time.